Hi there. Can you grow raspberries at home? Good question. This video is about how to grow raspberries at home in a container even. What that means is you don't need a big space like this over here. That was once full of blackberries and I'm rebuilding that area. But you don't need that to grow blackberries or raspberries at home. You can do it in a container. So I was at Tractor Supply and I found this late February, maybe March 1st. This is a raspberry shortcake. This cultivar was developed for containers, and as long as you have three things, a container, good soil, good location, you should be fine. As long as you have number 4, the diligence to keep it watered properly. So this container is filled with aged cow manure, fine pine bark, vermiculite, and dolomite. You could add sand. You may want to add sand, but it's a container and it drains well. So you don't want to go too high on how much sand you add, or it will drain too well. But you don't really need to add the sand as long as you have good drainage. What's more important is getting the pH right. A raspberry is actually in the rose family, like blackberries, and so it likes a pH about 5.5 to 6.5. So what I added to it was Hollytone. Hollytone will lower your pH, and it's made by Espoma. But since this is related to the rose family, it is a rose. Well, it's in the rose family, variety than cultivar. Anyway, this thing likes it acidic, right? That 5.5 to 6.5. So you do need to do something to lower the acidity. I used Hollytone. I just use Hollytone on my azaleas, my roses, berry plants, including this blueberry over here. I don't see a need to have a bunch of different things dedicated to one or this or that. I just use Hollytone from Espoma. Now, if you start this before your average last frost, you need to protect it. If it's a brand new start, this was very, very small. I use this container to keep it covered, but you can see, hopefully, it can't cover it anymore. So this came in really strong. So far, so good. And I used a second container to cover that container. Okay, just adding a little bit more. And you know, you keep the drain holes misaligned so there's less chance of moisture getting in there. A little bit of chance. If you don't want moisture getting in there at all, you would cover your plant and put something over it, even a towel, dish rag, or whatever. Whatever you do, if you're covering anything to protect it from frost and freeze, don't let this stuff touch, okay, your foliage, because it will burn it. Now, this is a hashtagged video. It's Grow Something New in 2022, and anybody can join it. It's not a competition, it's a collaboration. If you're growing something new in 2022, throw it up there. It's just 2 videos. Show us what you're growing and show us how it worked out. You could add 1 or 2 in the middle if you want. Just keep the videos focused on that one thing, not a walkthrough tour type thing. This, I've grown berries before, obviously, but I've not grown a raspberry, okay? So, I mean, just think, let's say you grow pole beans. You grow a lot of pole beans. You could make a video out of growing bush beans. Both beans, but it's a different thing. So it could get down to that level, but just make sure it's the first time you've worked with it. And regardless of what we all see on YouTube or read here or there, you don't really understand your plant and how it will perform in your backyard microclimate or your patio in a container until you do it. You got to learn to plant. Crazed Family Homestead, Amy, taught me that probably 2 years ago. You really need to grow things to understand it fully and how it works. Now, a raspberry plant will give you about 100 berries, even though I've read online that they're not truly berries. I don't know, I'm not a botanist, but it doesn't matter to me. It's a raspberry. So my question is this. First, did I get it? I got it started. It's year one. I don't expect any berries off of this year. Next year, maybe just a handful. But by year 3, this one should get up to 2 foot, maybe 3 foot, which would be more like that, and mounded. But if this is a cultivar for a container, if it performs like one in the ground, it should get about 100 berries. It's going to take a few years to see how this does here. You'll notice there's just one. They do not need a second variety or a second anything. 90% of it's pollinated by bees. And you might notice back here, it's not the best pollinator magnet, but it does attract insects, pollinating insects and bees. These are peonies. They're starting to bloom. This is late April, April 29th. So they're starting to bloom, and I will have a video out on that soon, showing you from late April until they're fully bloomed, so you can check that out. But for raspberries, what I'm saying is they need bees, so you need some pollinator attractors around. There's tons of these things, zinnias and feather celosia. There's even right, clover. I keep clover in my lawn. It's the only thing I leave in my lawn other than grass. And the reason I do that is it's good for attracting pollinators, and it fixes nitrogen and sticks it back into the lawn, which is good for the grass. So I don't really cut this stuff back. Let me show you what I mean. So that is a bit of clover. That's 6 to 8 inches. And it's right beside some of my berry plants anyway, including this blueberry and of course the raspberry. So just a tip, if you're going to try raspberry or anything that needs pollination by insects and bees, make sure you have some companion plants. And yes, that is some massive garlic over there. Can't wait. So leave some comments down there. I mean, how do you do it? But obviously for people watching this wondering, you can grow raspberry at home. You can grow it even in a container, which means if all you have is a patio, you only need the sun. Container, soil. And don't forget to water. Appreciate you watching. Don't forget to share this and sub, of course. And we'll see you on the next one, everybody. Garden Gurus. 3, 2, 1. Peace, y'all.